Shalom, we're back at it over here, as promised. And we are studying none other than the Chatzar Yosef, of course, the deep explanations of the Gemara Masechet Gittin. We are in section 4 of chapter 11. That's chapter 11, section 4. And this is a very unique section, as I mentioned last time, because up until now, in this section, what I usually do in the book actually is I take a section of the Gemara and we separate and we talk about each particular section. We talk about each particular section and we break it down in each a little bit in each section until we finish the whole Gemara. But in this one, we did all that already in the first 3 sections, and now there's a 4th section which discusses the entire thing again in a holistic view, from a holistic perspective. So we'll read through the story again, very famous story. We should be very familiar with the story by now. But now I'm going to raise questions here that we did not mention at all in any of the first 3 sections. So the first 3 sections was like a microcosm, magnifying glass, dissecting each small piece. Now we're looking at the whole thing. So each of the first 2 sections was like looking at a tree in the forest, and now we're taking a step back, going in the helicopter and looking at the entire forest of this story to see things that we may have missed. Gemara says, we're on page 170. Here comes the English. We're going to just do the English quickly of this whole story together. Onkelos bar Kelonikus, the son of Titus' sister. Titus was the Roman general who destroyed the second temple.
His father. His father.
Who was his father?
Who was whose father?
Because you said it was
Kelonikus. Kelonikus. That was his father's name. Roman, Greek, very influenced by Greek influenced. He was the son of Titus' sister, and he wanted to convert to Judaism. He went and he summoned Titus, the soul of Titus, because he was dead by this point, through necromancy, which means witchcraft. Rashi explains it was through the method called Ov, as we explained before. The Torah speaks about this method; it forbids it. Onkelos said to Titus, once he was speaking to him, "Who is most important in that world where you are now?" Titus said to him, "Israel." Onkelos asked him, "What if I attach myself to them?" Titus said to him, "Milaihu, their matters are numerous, and you will not be able to fulfill them. Instead, go out and do battle with them, and you will become the head." As it is written, there's a pasuk in Echad that says, "Her adversaries become her head," which means her enemies become her head. Who's the her? Am Israel. So whoever is their enemies gets a head status in this world, which means anyone who distresses Israel becomes a head. Onkelos said to him, "What is the judgment of that man?" Meaning he's speaking to him in 3rd person. He's asking Titus, what is the punishment that you are receiving?
How do you become a head?
Huh?
You become known.
The whatever, the Greeks battled, how do they become a head?
Oh, you have to look in section 1, please. Refer to section 1, and everything's there. I don't want to go back and spend time on that. So anyway, what is the judgment of that man? Onkelos is asking Titus, how are you suffering in Gehinnom? And Titus said to him, it is that which he sentenced upon himself. Again, he's speaking about himself in 3rd person. Every day his ashes are gathered, and they judge him, and they burn him, and they scatter him all over the 7 seas. And that's exactly what he told his people, Titus told his people to do before he died, to his body. As we learned in chapter 10 of this book. Onkelos then went and raised Bilam through witchcraft. That's the 2nd person. He said to him, "Who is most important in that world where you are now?" Bilam said to him, "Israel." So far so good. Onkelos asked him, "What if I attach myself to them?" And Bilam said to him, "You shall not seek their peace nor their good all your days forever." Those are not his own words. Those are plagiarized words that Bilam borrowed from the Torah itself. He quoted him a verse from the Torah. Right? There's a verse over there where God commands, through Moshe, commands the Jewish people not to allow converts from the nations of Moab and Ammon to enter into the Jewish communities and
marriage.
and marry Jewish women. Right? We explained all that in section 2. But Bilam took those words and he used that as an answer to Onkelos' question. Right? Let's read it again. You shall not seek their peace nor their good all your days forever. Which means he's telling them, don't seek the peace of the Jews, don't be one of them. Onkelos said to him, to Bilam, what is the punishment of that man in that world? Again, he's asking Bilam what his punishment is. Bilam said to him, he is cooked in boiling hot male fluids. To keep it rated PG. PG, I don't know what it is, it doesn't matter.
Parental guidance, general audiences.
Right. And we explained the depth of that as well. Please refer to section 2 for that.
So this is a summation. So the first.
This is the entire story that we're looking at it again. Up till now, we did piece by piece. Now it's the entire story again, exactly. Onkelos then went and raised the third person, Yeshu, with necromancy. Yeshu, of course, is the central figure of the Christian religion. Onkelos said to him, who is important in that world? Yeshu said to him, Israel. Yeshu himself was Jewish, don't forget. Onkelos asked him, what if I attach myself to them? Yeshu said to him, seek their welfare, do not seek their misfortune. Anyone who touches them, it's as if he were touching bebebat eino, the pupil of his eye. So it's a positive answer. Onkelos said to him then, what is the punishment of that man in that world? He's asking him the same question, what are you punished with? Yeshu said to him, in boiling hot excrement, which we spent the last few lectures explaining. As the master said, anyone who mocks the words of the sages will be judged with boiling hot excrement. The Gemara comments, come and see the difference between the sinners of Israel, which is Yeshu, he was a sinner, in the positive answer that he gave, versus the prophets of the nations of the world who worship idolatry. That was Bilam who gave a negative answer. That is the entire Gemara. Anything unusual so far?
So far it's been just a general...
A lot of repetition, right?
Really?
Good. Now let's see the questions that you guys missed. Question number 1. Why did Onkelos summon specifically these 3 people rather than anyone else?
Well, one of them is obvious.
Throughout history, these were the ones that influenced history.
Oh, there's many more influences of history.
Not like this.
He went to a witch, or he did it himself, and he had access to any dead soul, pretty much.
Okay,
He chose his uncle Titus.
Okay, that makes sense.
Who was it?
He chose...
What did that Titus?
Titus destroyed the second temple.
Okay, one.
So why is he asking him if he should convert to the Jewish people, the people that he hated and killed?
Correct.
Does he not know what answer he's going to expect?
No.
It's very.
And then Bilam, who was killed by the Jews in war, by the way, as the Torah brings down in Sefer Bamidbar, after everything he tried to do, what's he going to say? Yeah, join them.
That's not it.
And then Yeshu.
You have to look at the question that he asked.
Why didn't he call a rabbi?
Did you look at the question?
A Talmid Chacham?
Why would you ask them?
Because they will give you a more genuine answer. They're on the other side of the fence. They're where he's. They're where he's trying to go. He's trying to become Jewish, right? Question. What do? You don't have to tell. Okay, you're. Let's say you work in 47th Street. Let's say. Okay.
Let's say.
Now, do you just show up? And let's say you're thinking about working over there, thinking about getting in the jewelry business. What do? You ask people who are in the business, who have experience in the business. What's it like? Is it for me? Yes? Yes? So wouldn't it make sense if Onkelos called one of its big Talmidei Chachamim and said, listen, what's it like?
From their S classes, in their $5 million house, you're going to be like, yo, Stradai, bro, I'm telling you, I'm not making a penny, bro. I'm telling you, don't do it.
Okay, I'm not asking... You get my point. Okay, that's one. That's one person. Another person will say, "I love it. I love the business. I love the job. I live great." Blah blah blah. You understand?
Let's go back to the question. He asked people.
This is just one question, guys. I have more.
He asked people that fought the Jews, that were involved against the Jews. After they died, they got to see if they were right or wrong. So when he asked them, and they give him a genuine answer that it was the Jews that are...
So allow me to reiterate what you're saying for the people at home.
Please do.
You're saying that he asked specifically the enemies of the Jews, or at least 2 of them, Titus and Bilam, because once they get to the world of truth in that spiritual realm, and the truth is stuck in their face, they should be able to obviously admit it and
they did.
Right?
They admitted it.
And that's why he asked. That's what you're saying. We'll see.
No, you gotta look at the questions he asked.
Next question.
You gotta look at the questions he's asking.
The questions that what Onkelos asked them. He asked them the same question. He said, "What's your punishment?" And he said,
No, he asked, yeah, you're saying why specifically them?
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is look at what he's asking when he summoned them.
Okay, what did he asked them all the same question. He said, who's important? Should I attach?
And who would you
And what's your
ask
punishment?
questions? Look at the questions he's asking to, and look at the people he asked them to.
You're just going in circles. What's your point?
What is the point?
That's my question.
That makes sense why he summoned those three people. Look into the. My answer is
Okay, let's see. Let's go. I don't want to get hung up on one question. Next question. Why did he ask each one of the people he summoned what their punishment in the spiritual realm was? What do their punishments matter to his question at hand of whether or not he should become Jewish?
Well, he actually figured out that there is a punishment.
How was that part of the investigation?
I will explain.
Please explain, nice and loud.
Most people, not your age, but older, get to a point in life where they start asking why.
Okay,
Why are we here?
fine.
kids ask.
What is?
But why is he asking them about their punishments
Punishment for not doing,
for being against the Jews?
not even being against the Jews, but not following the laws of God. There has to be some kind of a punishment, otherwise, why do it? Right?
Fine.
So when he asked them, those that actually went against God, because they went against the people of God doing what they were supposed to be doing.
So were they justified or not, and their punishment will reveal them. Okay.
How bad was their punishment?
Sounds like a pretty solid answer. Let's see. Next question. After Onkelos received an answer to his question from the first person that he summoned, which was Titus, his uncle, why did he continue to summon two more people? Did he feel that the answers Titus and then subsequently Bilam, second guy, gave him were inadequate?
Prejudiced.
Did he stop summoning people after he summoned Yeshu, meaning he stopped after Yeshu, the third guy, because Yeshu gave him the answer that he wanted to hear?
He asked three people.
Was he shopping for an answer? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
Because he stopped at Yeshu. Yeshu said, seek their welfare.
I want to explain the question.
Yes.
He asked first the people that went really against the Jewish people and God in their way.
But so did Yeshu.
Wait.
Yeshu rebelled.
No.
Yeah.
First he asked the enemies. Yeshu was not the enemy.
He's not an enemy?
He was not the enemy.
Why?
At the time. He was not the enemy at the time. He was upset. He felt he was wrong.
But
he was not the enemy. He was not the enemy. He also was a Jew.
Okay.
Okay?
Let's see.
So now he asked these enemies first, and they told him who is important up there. And then he asked a Jew who's important. Everybody gave the same answer. Now, he took the enemies' answers and discarded them because he knew they were enemies. Nothing.
So why did he call them in the first place?
To see who's important. He wanted, you see, you asked, why not ask a rabbi? Why
not bring down the Tanaim? Bring a Rabbi Akiva.
First of all, I don't think he was familiar with them.
Why not?
Because
so he wanted to be someone he was familiar with. So you're saying he called people he could relate to. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, relate to, and knew that they fought.
What's wrong with Yeshu?
He was a rebel. He wasn't holding.
He was holding?
He rebelled against his rabbi.
Okay, but was he not
What was he holding? A cup of tea? What was he holding?
What do you mean? He was just like you can't.
He rebelled. He did Avodah Zarah.
Rabbi Meir's Rebbe. He went completely off the derech.
That's not holding.
He did not know Torah like the back of his
He
head.
knew Torah, but he wasn't holding. That's no. What is define holding? What are you holding?
Mentally, he'd cripple Rashi anybody.
What are you talking about?
Because he was a Tanai, right? That's exactly how it was.
Yeshu was not a Tana. He was of the era of the Tanaim, but he never got any status like that as far as we know. He was a student.
He was a student of it.
But he didn't become a Tana.
He was obviously a
Let's see.
guy.
Let's see.
Let's go.
Next question. Two of the people Onkelos summoned, Titus and Bilam, admitted that Israel is regarded as important in the next world, yet both of them stubbornly advised Onkelos against joining Israel. Why does that not bother you guys? Is that not absurd?
No, not at all.
Hold on. Despite the truth staring them bluntly in their spiritual faces,
They want to keep fighting.
Titus and Bilam insist on giving irrational advice to Onkelos in the world of truth.
They didn't want to lose even up there.
What more do they have to gain at this point? Why don't they face the music and give honest advice based on the truth that is so clearly revealed to them in that spiritual realm? What compelled these two to give the answers they gave?
But they did give honest advice. It was the Jews up there.
No, but hold on. If they both said, yeah, Israel is the most important thing here, yeah, in the world, pretty much, that's what God created the world for, pretty much, yeah, that's what they said. Okay, so when the next question was, the follow-up question was, can I join them? Should I join them? They both gave some kind of cop-out answer. You won't be able to do it. Don't go fight them. What do you mean?
The word is fight them.
But that's a false. It's a falsity. It's not the real answer to the question he's asking. And Titus knows the real answer. He's up there in Shamayim. Why didn't he give him the real answer? Why is Titus continuing to behave the way he did in this world?
Let's talk to the author of it.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what's it gonna take? What's it gonna take for Rasha to finally face the music? Even in Olam HaEmet, he can't face the truth?
Yeah.
That should have been bothering you the whole time. I'm surprised none of you guys caught on that question. That's a famous question on this Gemara.
It's not bothering me. I understand it. I do.
You understand it? Explain it to me then.
I just did. You don't want to listen.
I'm listening.
I told you.
I'll give you 2 minutes. 1 minute, go.
I told you. When they're fighting, even though they lost, they still have this thing to defeat.
So they're sore losers.
Kind of.
That's what you're saying. Even in Olam HaEmet, even in the spiritual realm, you're a sore loser.
Right? We take Bilam in the story of the Torah. How many places did he go to curse? Nothing worked. He kept on.
But that was when he was still here. Once you die and you go over there. But you're saying, Bilam was a prophet already, you're saying. He understood God. Okay.
He knew and he still did it.
All right.
So there's your answer.
Let's see. Last question. Why was Yeshu the only one to give good advice? Furthermore, why did he answer in such a roundabout fashion? What was the language of his answer? He said the following: seek their welfare, do not seek their misfortune. It's redundant.
No.
If you're telling me to seek their welfare, obviously you're telling me not to seek their misfortune, and vice versa. It's like, make a left, don't make a right. Okay, when you're telling me if there's only two options, left and right,
Well, you know
I understand.
You know how in the Torah they say something in double language, it reinforcing.
But this is Gemara. You're talking about Torah language, the biblical Torah, Hebrew that says Azov to Azov. That's different. That's grammatical. And there's drashot behind that, but that's psukim. This is Gemara. It's different. Different dynamics. It's psukim.
I would take it the same way.
It's Aramaic also.
He's being told.
No, it wasn't Aramaic.
Don't do this.
Okay, let's see. Furthermore, why did he? Okay, if he was trying to advise Onkelos to convert, then why didn't he just say so plainly? Yes, convert. He could have simply said, seek their welfare. The opposite of that, not seeking their misfortune, would have been plainly understood. Why was he compelled to say the seemingly superfluous second part of the statement, do not seek their misfortune? Again, same question, the redundancy needs to be addressed.
What does the author say on this subject?
So the author actually only starts his thesis, shall we say, in 2 pages. Until then, we have to do proper justice and read the Chachamim that said what they had to say before this new author decided to say what he wanted to say. Yeah. So we're now in the Amudei Chatzar. We're going to do a couple of commentaries. Wow, it's already late. But you guys are good today. Look at you guys are on fire today.
And no coffee.
And no coffee. Is it the sushi or is it the Torah? I don't know.
I had coffee before I left work.
Okay. Maharal comes first. The Maharal says the following, page 171 on the bottom. There are 3 major avenues that a wicked person takes: idolatry, which is idol worshipping, immoral relations, and spilling of blood or murder, right? Those are the 3 cardinal sins. Idolatry is evil towards heaven, because it doesn't hurt anybody next to you. Immoral relations are evil towards the self, because you're betraying your body, your own body, by doing that. By giving your body access to pleasures it's not allowed to have. Right? That's what we mean. Immoral relations means having relationships with women that you're not allowed to have relationships with. It is a severe degradation of the self, immoral relations, since there is nothing more undignified than one who is deeply attached to the desires of the Yetzer that the Yetzer Hara projects at him. Spilling of blood, which is the 3rd thing, is evil towards others. That's pretty obvious, right? Kill somebody else, spill their blood, that's evil towards others. Immoral relations are a sin of the body. Idolatry is a sin of the mind. And the spilling of blood is a sin towards others' souls. pretty deep words there by the Maharal. Those are the three major categories of sin. And what he means here is that these are major categories. You could fit any other sin in under one of these categories, conceptually, based on what we just said. Each one of the three wicked men, for example, let me just explain what I said. So for example, stealing. Stealing is damage to others. It's under the category of murder. Huh? What was your answer? You read ahead?
No, I didn't read ahead.
We didn't get there yet. Hold on. So, anything where you go for your own desires that you're not allowed to, that's under immoral relations. And then towards heaven is between you and God. Anything that's between you and God, that you do.
What was it? Parsha Vayishlach that Yaakov fought Esau?
Yes.
It was when he asked the angel he fought. He said, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
He said,
"Why are you asking for my name?"
He said that was his name. And if you go deeper into that, a rabbi broke it down, basically saying how when you after you do the sin, it's like you look at it, it's like,
why did I do it? Yeah.
Why are you asking for the name? So that's the whole thing. But even then, you still that was my answer to this. It's like, how could they, even when they see the truth?
Yeah.
So you know that you shouldn't do this sin. You know for a fact that I shouldn't, whatever it is, steal from this person. You still do it. You know. A lot of people going into a sin know they shouldn't. That
wasn't my question. That wasn't my question. My question was after a person dies. And his soul is now in the truth of. That's different. It's different. That's in this world. You're saying.
Is truth everywhere? Metaphysical.
Yes, but it hits you. No, but it hits you so much stronger there than it does here. Where theoretically you would think theoretically that once a person gets there, everything is on the table.
When it's a truth, it's a truth. There's nothing theoretical. Math is math. 1 + 1.
You don't get my question.
In this world, we are attached to our beliefs here and what is relative to us here. Over there, everything is completely different. Yet they still maintained what they maintained here.
Yes.
How come?
Objectively, killing somebody else is
obviously when you go there you can't.
No, we're talking about when they were asked to convert and they said don't do it. They said attack them. They said
mental thing. Everything is mental. Yeah. There's no more physical.
That was my question. My question is why didn't they turn over a new leaf once they got to Olam Haba? It should have been the ultimate rehabilitation center, right? That's what it should be. But it's not.
When he said, "Should I join them?" their answer was, "Yo,
don't do it." Right? Which is weird, isn't it?
No,
it's weird, isn't it?
It's not.
They're not in this world. They're souls.
That's how the Chatzar Yosef works. He's literally.
So where's the Chatzar Yosef? The Chatzar Yosef is this world.
We don't know that.
This world, the Chatzar Yosef.
I didn't say it's.
In this world, the Chatzar Yosef is this world. You're saying it follows you in Olam Haba? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe.
Is that what you want to propose? That the Chatzar Yosef follows a person in Olam Haba?
Come on.
Including tzaddikim too? Only the Shayim?
Yes.
You gotta make a thesis here. Let's see. Furthermore, each one of the three wicked men summoned by Onkelos answered Onkelos' question in a specific way in accordance with one of these three categories as well. So again, the categories Maharal was speaking about was idolatry, immoral relations, and spilling of blood. He's going to explain. And each of their punishments correspond to their respective categories as well. Maharal also mentions that the Gemara says in Masechet Eruvin 19a that there are three entrances to Gehinam. The Maharal says what that means is it's a figurative thing, metaphorical thing. There's three major categories of sin that can get you there, which is idolatry,
those are the gates.
Immoral relations, and spilling of blood. So Titus, as explained before, was the epitome of destruction and blood spilling. He was a warmonger. He spilled a lot of blood in his life, right? That's one category. Bil'am was deeply stooped in immoral relations, as is evident by his relationship with his she-donkey, that was his wife, and the advice that he gave to Moab to lure Israel into immoral relations. That was one of the major things he did.
Do idolatry. He was the idol.
Did he spill blood?
Who?
No.
Bil'am?
No. Yes, he didn't spill blood.
We don't get He said Titus was blood spilling.
Okay.
Titus was blood spilling. Bil'am was immoral relations. What's left? Idolatry.
No, Yeshua didn't do idolatry.
He did.
Was the idol. He was the
and he became an idol. He became exactly. That's a good point. But the Gemara says. But Gemara says that he bowed down to a brick.
Rock, yeah.
Right in front of his rabbi. Yeshua was attached to the category of idolatry because he rebelled and engaged in idolatry, as we saw in Masechet Sanhedrin, while persuading others to do so as well. That was the thing. He made a big following into it. Also, his mocking of the sages is complete heresy, even worse than idolatry, says the Maharal. If you make fun of the rabbis, you're worse than an idol worshiper, says the Maharal, which is why his punishment in Gehenna was primarily for the sin of mocking the sages than for idolatry. Aha, good. But now the Bilam goes, Maharal goes further, next page. Bilam had an intimate attachment to impurity.
Like that. Intimate attachment.
Yes. Being close to impurity means, by definition, distance from God.
Correct.
That makes sense, correct?
Absolutely.
And distance from God means distance from truth. Because the stamp of God is emet, as it says in the Gemara. Thus, Bilam's answer when he said, "You shall not pursue," that's a typo, "you shall not pursue their peace, nor their good," was far from the truth. Because Bilam himself was so attached to impurity, his wife was a donkey, as we know.
This is 100%. This is like you're quoting Maharal. This is 100% Maharal.
This is translation. It's in Hebrew. It's translation. It's my best translation and interpretation.
The way he's he's using it, like the way I connected it is like we try to prove an equation in math. You use like other equations to prove it. Like, I feel like he's like, if that's the way it looks like to me. He's trying to prove it like.
Yeah, they use other evidence. Yeah, sure, they do that. Yeah. Okay, so Titus, on the other hand, never said anything factually inaccurate. His answer was what? Their commandments are many. It's too much for you, right? That's based in truth, in the sense that the complex task of upholding the many laws of Torah are better suited for the Jewish nation and not for the rest of the nations of the world, since Hashem offered the other nations the Torah, but they did not want to accept it.
Not answer why go fight them.
Well, he said if you fight them, if you fight them, you'll become a head, which is also true.
Yeah, you become famous. That's all.
Exactly. So Titus never lied. Titus didn't lie in his answer. Bilam lied.
24/7 now.
Of course. Kidding me? It's insane. So there is a slight difference between the two, between Bilam and Titus, in that Bilam answered against the truth completely, while Titus answered against Torah ideology. Titus included go out and do battle with them because he was from Edom. Edom is Esav, right, in Rome, who is the archenemy of Israel, and he himself achieved head status in this world by making an enemy out of Israel. So that was his first-hand experience of how he himself became famous by being the destroyer of the second temple, Jewish temple. The reason that Yeshu answered positively is because he was Jewish, which means his soul came from a highly pure place, higher than the other two.
Be careful where you sit on this one.
I'm just translating them out of
If he came from a pure place,
his soul, neshama, every Jewish neshama comes from it says tachat ekasei kavod, under the God's throne, whatever that means.
Echav was a Jew just as much as he was.
Achav, you're saying,
he did some pretty terrible things.
The only issue that he veered toward, the only issue was that he veered toward evil in this world. But once a Jewish soul returns to the upper world, those impure barriers he acquired in his lifetime in the physical world are removed from him, allowing him to fully immerse in the truth. You're missing the answer, by the way. This is unlike the sinners of the Gentile nations like Bilam and Titus, because their essence comes from a less pure source in that world, irrespective of what they go on to pursue in this world. Hence, even if their evils were removed from them in that world once they die, their essence remains negative, and there is no changing the essence of something, which is why they still gave negative answers even after they died.
That's his answer.
That's the Maharal's approach. I want to just give a disclaimer, note number 6. That is not to say that a Gentile is doomed from the start. There is a concept of a righteous Gentile in Torah who can indeed purify his soul by living a righteous lifestyle according to the Torah. Titus and Bilam, however, failed in this regard. Right? They were sinners in the real world, in their lifetimes, and so their negative essence remained with them and was bluntly apparent even after death. Did you get the answer or no? Summary. The Maharal says like this: the reason why Bilam and Titus gave negative answers even after they died is because the Gentile nations, their soul comes from a different place than a Jewish soul. And therefore, if the Gentile soul is a sinner in this world, when they die a sinner, they remain lying. They can't admit the truth. Whereas Yeshu, since he was Jewish, his soul came from a very high place. And even though he was a sinner in the real world, once he died, the truth was much more effective on him there. And therefore, he was able to give the true answer to Onkelos that it's good to become Jewish. So it all starts with the essence of the person, where they start from. That's what he says. So Jews, once you get there, you say the truth. That's according to Mara.
That's an okay answer.
What time is it? Okay. So let's do one more commentary, guys, if you guys don't mind. They're all kind of short. I could finish them today, the commentaries. Maybe next week we'll do Chatzar Yosef. Let's do that. Rav Dessler. Actually, you find this in the English version of his book, Strive for Truth, as well. The note is in the bottom. It says like this. He says, he has a very famous piece on this. He says, there is a world of falsehood and a world of truth. People are under the impression that when they die, they immediately enter the world of truth. This is a mistaken idea. To say that we are in the world of falsehood before we die is the same as saying that falsehood is in us.
Correct. Obviously.
The truth of the matter is that we see the world with false eyes.
Basically, what they're saying is that it takes time to correct oneself once you get up there.
To correct your perception.
Correct.
So the uncorrected evil in a person is where the false components of this world exist. Which means he says, all lies and falsities in this world stem from sin. Stems from a person, a human being, deciding to do evil. Deciding to use his free will to go against the will of God. From there, eventually, lies and falsities come. Besides that, everything is true. Even in this world.
But there's a problem with this.
It's very deep what he's saying.
I understand the depth of what is being said, but my problem with this whole thing is that when we do things we do here, we all feel that nobody's seeing us.
When a person sins, you say he feels like no one's watching him.
Yeah, nobody's watching. How can they do what I do in my own privacy, or I do when nobody sees?
Right, but God sees everything.
That's where I'm going. So now you get to Olam Haba, and everything is out and clear.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that even in the mind of a sinner, knowing that you are in the presence of God, you are in the presence of truth that is indisputable.
It's not good enough, he says. Look what he says. I'll answer your question. He says like this. Even in the next world, says Rav Dessler, as long as Gehinam has not burned away the evil from within a person's soul, falsehood continues to thrive within, even when that soul gets to Olam Haba. Such a person is still subject to contradictions, lies, insecurity, and outright dishonesty. This is why Titus ibn Am gave insincere advice to Onkelos. What he's saying is, when a person is a sinner, those are the seeds for lies and dishonesty. And when the soul goes to the next world without being cleaned up, those stains remain on the soul, and therefore lies and falsities remain in the capability of that soul.
That answer I like that answer better than Maral's.
But I have a problem. All of us see the world with our own eyes, with our own perceptions and understandings. But there comes a time where something is indisputable, and no matter how not smart a person is, I would say not smart just instead of saying evil or anything like that, everything changes because you see with your own eyes.
Does it really surprise you though? Does it really surprise you?
Yes.
Because even in this world, in our modern conflict that we're dealing with now, you have so many self-proclaimed intelligent individuals, hold on, who can look at evil in the face and say this is good.
Yeah, they look at white and they call it black.
I don't have to explain myself. You all understand what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. But this is human.
As long as it's happening to Jews, it's good in their eyes. Do you understand?
But over there's no more humans. There's only.
But that's exactly the point. Those kind of people have tainted their soul so much, and when they go to the next world, those stains go with them, and they can continue to hold their absurd positions even in Olam Haba.
That was my first answer, right?
Yes.
But logically,
You can't use logic in metaphysical stuff.
No, because now you're there, and there is nothing but the truth around you. There's
But
no
it's not
more
in Gehenna.
you can't cover it anymore.
Not in Gehenna, like you said. It's a place where you go to get
No,
those things out.
like
So you're still.
they dunk you.
So you're still.
They take you out to truth.
No, but
they
you're
dunk
still-
you,
you're
and
still-
you come up to
So
truth.
I think just
Gehenna is to
yeah,
correct your vision. He just says you're looking.
it cleans you out. By the way, Gehinnom is not everyone gets Gehinnom. Gehinnom is a good
So
thing.
you're going there to correct your vision.
In some ways.
Your vision at that point, when he was asking these questions, they're obviously still in Gehenna because their eyes not corrected, so they don't see what truth is, what's false. So it makes 100%. It makes sense.
So it's good. Listen.
Punishment, and there is no correction.
No, there is correction.
It is correct.
How is it correct?
Okay, good. So hold on. So this is great discussion. I think you have to just wait for the answer in the Chatzar Yosef, which is going to be hopefully a lot more satisfying and clear, because I don't want to give it away now.
Yeah, because I think I'm going to have to talk to the author of the book and have a...
Yeah, I just want to finish up 3 more quick commentaries, okay? Siftei Chaim, this is the Rabbi Chaim Friedlander in the early 1900s. He's a student of Rav Dessler. He brings down the reason that Titus and Bil'am still gave bad advice to Onkelos is because the negative traits of a person remain submerged in his soul even after death. Similar, right? Since Titus and Bil'am hated Israel so much in their lifetimes, that hate remained with them even after death. Fine. Iyun Yaakov, next one, he says, the reason that Onkelos consulted 3 people exactly is because of the principle that the minimum amount of people halakhically required to assemble a minor court to judge a lot of halakhic things is 3 people. Right? If you want to cancel a neder, for example, it's a common issue. So to cancel a neder, you need 3 people.
The Jewish halachic laws when he asked those questions.
So hold on. The reason for this is that whenever considering an issue, there are always 3 approaches to it. The 2 extremes, right? The extreme to the left, extreme to the right, and the balanced middle approach, which, by the way, very Kabbalistic, as we'll see. That's Chesed, Din, and Rachamim. Therefore, a council is complete when given by a group of 3 people. Last one, Ben Yehoyada, is the Ben Ish Chai, he says.
We're gonna have to review these next time.
Why? These are pretty
I'm saying,
quick points.
we're gonna have to
I will always touch on
We're
them.
gonna have
I always refer back to them in the Chatzar Yosef, if you remember. Okay, so Ben Yehoyada says Yeshu's answer of seek their welfare and do not seek their misfortune is actually a cunning admonition to bring down the Jews. Meaning it's a trick.
What? One more time.
What did Yeshu say? He said, seek their welfare, do not seek their misfortune. Says the Ben Yehoyada, this is a cunning admonition, which means it's a trick.
In what way?
Let's see. He advised Onkelos to treat the Jews in a good fashion. Right? Seek their welfare, to grant them more freedom and luxury. Seek their welfare.
I know where you're going with this.
Right? Make them comfortable, the Jews. Why? Because when the Jews are in such a comfortable state, they are more prone to stumbling spiritually and succumbing to sinful lifestyles. When things are too comfortable, you forget God. That's what Torah says, right? The opposite is also true. When the Jews are enduring an oppressive state, and they're suffering, unfortunately, they cling so tight to their faith that there was no way to remove them from it. Yeshu hinted this as well in his word usage as well, since reading his response backwards would yield the following: Tidrosh el ra'atam derosh tovatam. Seek their misfortune by seeking their welfare. Make them bad by making them comfortable.
Only the Jews can come up with
that. So that's what he says over here. Now, again, I have to be honest, look at note 10. I mean, he reversed the order of the words, but look at note 11. It seems that Ben Yehoyada must have had a different textual version of our Gemara, since our Gemara uses the word lo, do not, whereas he had the word al, which also means kind of don't. Yeah. Thus allowing for this thing to work that he just said over here. But that's just a small nuance. Look at note 10, 11 if you want to see more.
He just replaced the word by himself. He didn't have a different
Lo for al. You think? Perhaps. I mean, it's not a big deal, not a big difference.
Meaning the same meaning.
But that's his. So according to Ben Yehoyada, it comes out that Yeshu also gave a negative answer in a tricky way.
His is the best answer, though.
And you like it.
Very much.
Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see next week the depth of this Gemara even more. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.